In today's fast-paced world, we're often distracted by noise, both external and internal. But there is great power in silence, and we can learn so much from Buddha's teachings on the topic. In this video, we will explore 5 situations where silence can change our lives for the better. These moments are inspired by Buddha's life, showing us how silence can help us gain clarity, manage our emotions, and create peace in our lives. Stay tuned as we unpack how silence isn't just a state of quiet but a powerful tool for personal growth. Introduction to silence. In Buddha's teaching, silence is a core practice in Buddhism and is often tied to deep meditation and mindfulness. Buddha himself exemplified the power of silence in many moments of his life. His teachings about silence aren't merely about the absence of sound but rather an invitation to focus on one's thoughts, emotions, and surroundings. Buddha's silence was never a retreat into isolation but a conscious choice to connect more deeply with his mind and the world around him. By practicing silence, Buddha was able to gain clarity and insight that he shared with his disciples. Silence, in the Buddhist context, is considered a form of inner peace that allows us to cultivate awareness. In meditation, silence is vital for moving beyond the distractions of daily life and allowing the mind to settle. The concept of noble silence is central to Buddhist monasteries where monks practice silence during certain periods to foster deep reflection and self-awareness. In our daily lives, silence can help us step back and reflect before responding to a situation, offering us the clarity to act thoughtfully and kindly. It is through the stillness of silence that we connect with our true selves and the wisdom we carry within. This practice of silence also has the power to transcend ordinary speech. It's not just about what we refrain from saying, but what we gain through the absence of unnecessary words. Buddha's silence was often filled with profound meaning, teaching us that sometimes, in order to truly understand, we must listen, not only to others but to our own hearts. By embracing silence, we create space for the wisdom of the universe to speak to us. This is a powerful lesson that we can carry into our own lives to find peace and clarity. The first situation is silent observation. One of the most profound lessons from Buddha's life is his ability to remain silent in the face of conflict. Buddha was often confronted with criticism, questions, and anger from both followers and non-believers. A significant example is the story of Kunda, a man who insulted Buddha, but Buddha remained silent and didn't react. This moment is a reminder that silence can be a powerful response to situations where words might escalate the conflict. Silence gives us the opportunity to pause and consider our response rather than reacting impulsively. When we practice silence in moments of conflict, we allow our emotions to settle and create space for a more mindful and measured response. Buddha's silence in these moments also teaches us to detach from the ego and not feel the need to defend ourselves. In choosing silence, we preserve our peace and avoid the cycle of reactive behaviors that often lead to more harm. The act of silent observation, as practiced by Buddha, is an invitation to step back and see things clearly. When we observe a situation silently, we are not consumed by emotions like anger or frustration but instead can see the bigger picture. This gives us the ability to understand not just our own feelings but also the motives and emotions of others involved. By practicing silent observation, we become more empathetic, compassionate, and wise in how we engage with the world around us. Silence helps us move away from quick judgments and opens the door to deeper understanding. It allows us to experience situations without being clouded by emotional reactions. Buddha's practice of silence in conflict offers us the wisdom to choose peace over retaliation, fostering harmonious relationships and emotional resilience. Through silent observation, we begin to recognize that not every confrontation requires a response. Sometimes, the most powerful action is simply to remain silent and listen. The second situation is silent reflection. Buddha's life offers many instances where he turned to silence for personal reflection. Perhaps the most iconic moment was when he meditated under the Bodhi tree for 49 days, choosing silence to connect with his deeper truths and find enlightenment. During this period, Buddha didn't speak, he simply sat in stillness, observing the flow of his thoughts and feelings. This silence allowed him to gain profound insights about life, suffering, and the nature of reality. In our busy lives, it's easy to be distracted by the noise of the world, but taking time for silent reflection is crucial for personal growth. Buddha's practice of retreating into silence reminds us that inner wisdom can only be heard in moments of quiet. When we give ourselves the space to reflect, we are better able to understand our emotions, thoughts, and reactions. Silence isn't just about not speaking, it's about creating an environment where self-reflection can thrive. During times of reflection, we can gain clarity about what is truly important to us. By sitting in silence and tuning into our inner world, we can make decisions based on what aligns with our values rather than being swept away by external influences. Buddha's silent reflections were moments of immense spiritual growth, and by adopting this practice in our own lives, we can deepen our connection to ourselves. Silent reflection fosters a calm and open mind, allowing us to see things from a higher perspective, free from the noise of daily life. This practice can be integrated into your daily routine, whether it's through a few minutes of silent sitting in the morning or taking breaks throughout the day to simply pause and reflect. Silent reflection invites us to stop, listen, and learn from our inner experiences, helping us live with more intention and purpose. The third situation is silence during teaching. Buddha's teachings were not always delivered through words alone. In fact, some of his most powerful lessons came when he chose to remain silent. Buddha often used silence as a tool to allow his disciples to come to their own understanding. One story that illustrates this is when Buddha remained silent when asked a difficult question, instead of providing a direct answer. His silence in such moments was a way of teaching his followers that answers come from within. Silence encourages introspection and self-discovery. In today's world, we often feel the pressure to speak, to give answers, and to fill every moment with words. However, Buddha's example shows us that silence can be a form of teaching in itself. Silence allows space for deep thinking and reflection, inviting others to discover the truth on their own rather than relying on external instruction. Sometimes, the most powerful lessons are not spoken but felt through stillness. When we use silence in teaching or guiding others, we are giving them the opportunity to connect with their own wisdom. Silence encourages mindfulness, enabling individuals to form their own conclusions and insights. It also fosters an atmosphere of deep listening and respect, where the person receiving the guidance feels heard and valued. By embracing silence in our conversations, we create an environment of mutual understanding and growth. In your own interactions, you can use silence to encourage deeper thinking. For example, instead of rushing to give advice or answer questions, try pausing and allowing the other person the time and space to reflect. This can be especially powerful in coaching, teaching, or counseling scenarios, where silence serves as a tool for empowerment and self-realization. The fourth situation is silence in the presence of nature. Buddha had a deep connection with nature, and many of his teachings reflect the wisdom found in the natural world. He often retreated to forests or mountains to meditate in silence, allowing the environment to guide him. Nature, with its quiet beauty and natural rhythms, is an ideal setting for silence. By immersing ourselves in nature and embracing its stillness, we allow ourselves to align with the peaceful flow of the world around us. In Buddha's time, nature was not just a place for retreat but a living, breathing teacher. The sounds of the forest, the rustling leaves, the gentle flow of rivers, all of these contributed to the silence that Buddha sought. Nature, in its quietude, offers us a unique opportunity to connect with something larger than ourselves. By practicing silence in nature, we can attune ourselves to its wisdom and learn to be fully present in the moment. When we spend time in nature, we are reminded that silence is not an absence but a presence. The world around us is constantly speaking to us, but in order to listen, we must first quiet our minds. Buddha's example of meditating in nature teaches us that silence in such environments can lead to deeper insight and a greater sense of peace. Nature provides the perfect backdrop for self-discovery, and silence within nature allows us to connect with our true essence. To practice silence in nature, you don't need to go on long retreats. Simply walking in a quiet park or sitting by a river for a few minutes each day can be transformative. Allow the natural world to guide you, and let silence become a bridge to a deeper sense of calm and awareness. The fifth situation is silence in grief and loss. One of the most poignant moments of silence in Buddha's life was during times of personal loss. When Buddha's loved ones passed away, including his own father and stepmother, he would often remain silent in his grief. Buddha understood that grief was a natural part of life, but it was also an opportunity for inner reflection. By practicing silence during these times of sorrow, Buddha was able to fully embrace the pain, allowing it to pass through him without being consumed by it. Grief is often accompanied by a need to speak, to share our sadness, and to seek comfort. However, sometimes silence is the most healing response. It allows us to process our emotions without the need for words or explanations. In our own lives, when we face grief, practicing silence can create space for us to feel and understand our emotions without rushing the healing process. Buddha's silence during grief teaches us the importance of acknowledging our pain without trying to suppress it. By embracing silence, we can let our emotions flow naturally, knowing that we don't need to have all the answers. Silence during grief also helps us cultivate compassion for ourselves and others, allowing us to heal and move forward with a sense of peace. In your own journey through grief, try sitting in silence and allowing yourself to feel what arises. Allow the silence to guide you toward acceptance and healing, knowing that it is okay to be still in your sorrow. Through this practice, you will find that silence can be a source of comfort and strength. Now, let's take a moment to dive into some meditation practices. These will help us connect with the power of silence and bring the wisdom we've just discussed into our own lives. First meditation is mindful silence. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit in a comfortable position, close your eyes, and begin by taking several deep breaths. Inhale deeply, and exhale slowly, releasing any tension in your body. As you breathe, begin to notice the space between your breaths, the silence that exists when you're not speaking or thinking. Spend a few minutes in this silence, focusing on your breath, letting go of any distractions or mental chatter. Allow yourself to sink deeper into the stillness of the moment. Second meditation is grief and healing. Sit comfortably, and close your eyes. Imagine a peaceful, serene space where you feel safe. Allow any emotions related to grief or loss to come to the surface. Don't try to change them, simply allow them to be. In the silence of your meditation, acknowledge these feelings and gently let them go. Visualize yourself being surrounded by loving, healing energy, bringing comfort and peace to your heart. Third meditation is nature connection. Find a quiet space where you can relax and close your eyes. Imagine yourself sitting in the middle of a beautiful forest, surrounded by the sounds of nature. Hear the leaves rustling, the birds chirping, and the wind gently blowing. Allow the peacefulness of nature to fill you with calm and serenity. Sit in silence, feeling the connection between you and the natural world, and let this peace wash over you. Silence holds immense power and wisdom, and Buddha's life shows us how transformative this practice can be. Whether we are facing conflict, grief, or simply seeking to reflect, silence offers a path to peace and clarity. By embracing silence in the situations we face each day, we can learn to respond more thoughtfully, find deeper connection with ourselves and others, and create a more peaceful environment around us. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel for more content on mindfulness, meditation, and the teachings of Buddha. Share this video with others who may benefit from the power of silence, and comment below with your own experiences. Remember, silence is not just the absence of sound, but a powerful tool for peace and growth. Let's continue this journey together. Stay silent, stay mindful, and let's transform our lives with the wisdom of silence.